And it's time for a little bit of Counter Logic Gaming versus OpTic over on Cobblestone. We're sure to have a good matchup here. We just saw Counter Logic Gaming fall in overtime to OpTic over on Mirage. But it is that time to kind of get in and look at some of the facts here over on Cobble. What do we know about these two teams on Cobble?
Obviously, two very solid teams. CLG kind of starting their resurgence really into playing well on Cobble, really, where they found a lot of success in Kiev, which was pretty much their best event in a long time against strong opponents. So definitely a solid team on that map. OpTic as well played quite a bit of Cobble actually in recent days, and never been a weak team on it either. That said, though, I would kind of lean towards CLG simply because of what we've seen in the past. But it should make for an interesting map. If I'm CLG right about now, I'm probably feeling a bit dejected after that first game.
Bit dejected. You know, another interesting aspect of this is I'm sure OpTic is feeling just a little sleepy right now.
Oh yeah,
if you think
kicking in.
But let's throw it over to Eric DeBear Stromberg, who's going to break down Counter Logic Gaming's Cobble.
Welcome back, guys, for another Stromberg strategy. We're going to take a look at CLG and Cobble, specifically the Kusta Cutler combo in A. As we see here, Kusta, he will repeatedly fall back. There are many times in the match where if he has an AWP and he's playing towards the middle, he'll fall back to his crack house, he'll get a kill, and then he'll continue to shoot around this angle. It's a very common spot, very nice, so if you don't use it, practice it. You can catch people off guard because when they come up the ramp, they're looking sight, behind truck, a lot of places other than that cubby hole. Right now, you see Kusta, he's pushed up with an AWP. He boosted Cutler on the boost spot right next to him. Kusta being a little too aggressive, he want to get that kill. But you know what? Cutler saves the day. What a good teammate. He cleans up, he gets 3 kills. Good for them. Now, later, he doesn't want this to happen again, so this time he's going to be elbow peeking it. He had the smoke ready just in case. But, like 20, 30 seconds around, his intuition kicks in. He's like, maybe I should just fall back, play with my team. Good choice by Kusta. As you see, Energy taking over halls just right as Kusta left. And now he comes back. He's playing with his teammate, the spacing and timing. So if Cutler sees anyone, Kusta's right there to exchange any kill or help him out. As well as watch his halls. Boom. Instantly trades kill. Gets 2 more kills after that. Nice flash overall by CLG. And that's just a little snippet of what they do in A. You have to rely on your teammates. If something goes wrong, yes, you may be the best AWPer in the world, but you still have to have the flash. You still have to have the safe plan to where if things go wrong, you have teammates to back you up like Cutler. Good job by CLG, and back to you, Stunner.
Hey, thanks, Eric. Looking at Cobble, I want to get a quick prediction from you, then we're going to bring in the commentators.
Yeah, I'm actually going to side with CLG, partly because, wounded animal, backed into a corner kind of deal, because they need to win this if they still want to have a shot at making it to Dallas. It kind of goes the same way for OpTic. They obviously want to get a 2-0, but they have a much easier secondary game than what we see CLG have, because they have to go up against SK.
Well, wounded animals in the corner hurt. Doesn't really bode well for the animal usually.
It doesn't bode well, but there'll be some bite for sure.
There'll be some bite. There'll be some kick. Might be a little bit of scream too. Let's bring in the commentators now. What are your guys' predictions going into Cobble?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Outstanding analysis there
exactly
from
what we're
Blue.
looking for.
Could not have expected any less or more.
How about you, Sam?
Probably OpTic. I just think they have better players.
Well,
but do you think someone like Kusta, for instance, though, could change that?
I mean, there's always a chance, right? I tell you what, why don't you guys just take them here and take us right through the match?
Thank you very much, Stunner. Yes, the match is already live, so let's jump into the game and get right to it, as I believe we have the pistol round rolling here with both of these teams already in the match, ready to take it. So let's hop in game and take a look-see here, as we've already got them pushing through and everything like that. There we go. All right.
There we go.
Right into the match now. And already a little bit of action, too, as we saw Mixwell getting dinked off. He was able to escape, though, keeping himself alive. And CLG holding back. And again, like I said, not really sure who is going to be able to take this match, just because, like we said before, these teams are so close. Jason R, 2 nice shots from up on top of the shed over here on the A-bomb site, knocking out Kusta, Cutler, Tarek finding the 3rd. Overall, just shutting down CLG to start. Finally, FNS trades one back, but it might be a little bit too little, a little bit too late, as Mixwell still is alive, still up on the site behind the barrels now, basically just waiting for anyone on CLG to push their way in that direction. Mixwell finds FNS going for the plant, eliminates him, and now just Ethan alone. Nice. Instant one tap onto Rush, though, as he tries to keep himself alive. Looking for one more, but won't find it. And Naf secures the first pistol round for OpTic.
Yeah, you notice after Mixwell got goosed, smartly goes into the back of the site. Not going to be expected by CLG. Jason R, though, with 2 really nice shots. If he doesn't hit those, that round's completely different. CLG probably wins it. So CLG going to upgrade to some Tech 9s. They got a Deagle on Cutler. Kusta with the full save, except for the P250. 2 smokes and a flashbang for CLG. And all 5 grouped up towards B. And drop zone.
It's sticking together on CLG right now, so pretty heavy push. More than likely going to end up swinging its way into drop zone. And it's light pressure from OpTic here. They are holding outside of it. Rush not right at the window, though, so they actually are going to let them get back outside. So Rush only getting that 1 kill before being traded back. He did good damage to Cutler before going down, however, but still, regardless, leaves it into a 4v4. And a bit of an awkward one for CLG, as they did get into drop. They got a lot of pressure there, but they're not really going to have the initiative to try and push back out onto the A site so quickly. So now they've kind of trapped a few of their players inside of the site connector. At the same time, though, they've driven a wedge between A and B CT players to try and finish a few of them off. Tarek doing a good job of holding strong, but finally FNS swinging around, eliminates Tarek. Now just Naf sits within the site. He wants to play a little bit more cautiously, but he's already been found, so can't really decide to do that here. Pushed up upon on top of the steps, still secures that kill down to 20 HP, and now falling out of the site. Buys room for the rotations to move back in, and OpTic do secure it.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems, though, for CLG is you might take drop room control, but that player behind the box, that player on the plat with M4 is you know, a really strong presence there at B. He's able to watch E-box, he's able to watch the B plat, able to watch all of the sidewalk. I think what they should have done is actually kept Cutler up as the B player in case that happens, because he could actually 1-deke that guy, and that's your best chance. When you just have a Tech 9 or a P250 fighting from that far away, you know, usually Tarek's going to, more often than not, get both those kills instead of just 1 and about 90 damage.
Yeah, now we can see everyone from CLG trying to stack themselves up over here on the broken wall approach. Nade's going to go deep. Actually doesn't do as much damage as I thought it was going to do. Tarek holds on for 1 more before he gets eliminated, though. And Nap just having himself a shooting gallery. Not just him, Rush and Mixwell picking up a few kills there as well.
Easy round for OpTic. Tarek spots it all. The backup comes out. And then we end up losing 1 player in just because
So off of that, nice secure first couple rounds for OpTic there. Not losing a huge amount of players either, but as we get into the first gun round now, CLG going for their investment. As they expect somewhat limited utility here. A few mollies to try and toss back out and counter on early CT aggression. More than likely over here towards the B-Bop side, as we are already seeing, along with default smokes to try and deploy back out and get control. But big heavy stack from OpTic, 3 over here towards B. CLG not hesitating upon it. They move right back out. They even spot the player up on boost. Not able to do nearly enough damage to him, however. They do find some success in drop as they do push towards this, and Kusta finally hitting the shots of the players out from broken wall. But Tarek's still here, able to redeploy the Molotov, smokes out on the sidewalk, buying himself a whole lot of room and delaying a whole lot of the push from CLG as well. It's really good. Unfortunately, Tarek still falls without picking up any additional kills here, and Mixwell trying to fall back is blocked by his teammate, but won't be too big of a deal. And now they are going to try to push back in. CLG, this is take that control, and Jason already baited into getting aggressive there over towards the drop rooms. Cutler is going to dispatch at him relatively quickly, and for Mixwell, there's not really anything that he can do. So in a moment, he will be falling back to save, if he can even get to that, as the player just jumped outside of the window itself. Hits that shot, though, so now he has secured his exit. And should be relatively safe to fall back and get outside the site. CLG, though, going to be claiming the first gun round and putting us up to a 3-1 scoreboard.
Yeah, and once that drop room got taken control of, that's really what opened everything else up. Rush underneath, not able to get the kill. I think he did a good amount of damage, but you know, died nonetheless. Didn't even go 1 for 1. So even though Tarek makes a 4v5, stops that initial push, the map gets pinched from, you know, areas everywhere else. I'm not sure where Naf was when he died, though. I'm assuming maybe by E-box or something like that, because he died right after Rush.
Well, now CLG having to reinvest into these few players they did lose. Thankfully, still going to be in okay shape, but their money is still in a somewhat delicate position after winning out this first gun round. So they will have to be cautious, as OpTic had enough cash to at the very least force back into this. I'm pretty sure they end up with a decent buy too. I'll see this here in a second. Yeah, it's all right for what, obviously, after losing that round. They get themselves a double offset, most importantly, and then having to scrounge together a few more guns after that. You know, Tarek ends up on a UMP, but he can play close-up broken wall or drop with that. And more importantly, they end up with a lot of utility to stem the tide here. If CLG goes for another direct push into the B site, which seems to be the case, 5 players stacked up here being held back by a Molotov, so there's where that CT utility does come into play here. Now T trying to deploy their own bit of it, but Rush already isolating the first kill. Tarek inside of the cubby, not having the best of results though. Rush getting that kill, but then Jason R moving in for a second now. Brings us into a 3v3 as Ricky and Finesse were able to trade 2 more back for the T side. Mixwell was spotted by Kusa there. You can see just before he jumped onto the steps, he was able to catch out Mixwell, and now peeked very slowly to be able to knock him out, leaving very little room for him to be traded back. Now puts us into another advantage situation for CLG, but it's hesitant at best. Molly going back, that's actually going to push Rush back a little bit here, or at least force him out into the open, where Kusta would hopefully be able to hit that shot, but right now, Rush managed to find a safe spot, kept himself alive for at least a little bit longer, but again, Kusta is creeping right up, knocking out another player from the CT side, and just leaves Naf solo, but he's going to make a move, gets out into the open, finds one, finds the second, and catches him into the open too. Now it's Naf versus Finesse to clutch this one out, as Finesse puts the bomb down behind the statue, not paying attention to his flank though, is going to allow Finesse to walk up on the sidewalk, pick up the headshot against Naf, and secure the round for CLG.
Naf almost salvaging that round, but that was so well played by Kusa. He throws the Molotov and pizza. He just waits and waits. He knows that player has to back up, you know, either to the doors, or I don't even think he could have gotten to the doors. I think he would have saw him, either to E-box or where he was, and then just slowly, methodically gets that kill in order to, you know, open up the site to plant and eventually winning that round. Now OpTic going to be on a full save. Just 2 P250s, 2 Deagles, and a USP. So a little bit of upgraded pistols, and that is it. Should be an easy round for COG. You notice they didn't buy any umps, though, so they might be thinking, hey, they might be forced buying here.
Yeah, won't be the case, though, so they should have themselves, unless they just walk in without checking these corners and whatnot, they should have themselves a relatively easy time of cleaning this back up. You can already see just the slow, methodical push from CLG, trying to clear out suicide steps and whatnot, and just moving together as a one big unit. They've already pushed in, knocked out Mixwell, spotting a second one. They need to watch on this ramp, and yeah, Jason R is going to be able to walk back up. Knocks out one, gets some good damage on the Cutler before he is taken back out. Thankfully, that damage that was done to Cutler shouldn't really matter too much. I doubt anyone's going to be able to capitalize upon that and actually get the full kill. We'll see in a second as Cutler's actually kind of still staying out in the open instead of falling back. But at the same time, there's not really room for Rush or Tarek to safely push out from these halls here and get much done.
I think Tarek's going to look for Ricky's gun, maybe? But where did Ricky die at? Didn't he die at APC? What is Tarek up to here?
I'm assuming just going around to try and find players that are exiting for like A long or mid. Yeah, looks like that's what he's doing. And Rush is going to join him too. The problem is that they're like obviously trying to get exits, so there's not really anything to save, but they can't really push out the door because that's just guaranteed death. So they take a risk here, hope that it works out, but didn't really seem to find much. So they save that P250. It's not like they would have gotten much done. Even so, they managed to prevent the extra like $300 or so from being picked up by CLG at the end. They're not like that's a huge gain for them, but just not a whole lot that they could have done with their positions there, so they try to make the best of it. Into another gun round we will go, though, with it being tied now at 3-3. And CLG going to go for a bit of a default split on the opener. Trying to play this in the open early on, but very, very quickly moving into a position to actually try and take a long control with 3 players, too. So this is a pretty heavy push to be doing this early on. Gets promptly smoked back off by OpTic. Jason R and Mixwell still here to defend it, but Cutler not going to find either of them. Just takes up this position, teammates falling away a little bit. But the rest of the players that initially went into the B halls have now actually fallen outside and are regrouping inside of mid. So they've all gone in, they've taken this control, and they're probably going to end up following through with a pretty direct play onto A. No one has put themselves into a bit of a floater position on the site connector yet either. That's changing now as Naf is kind of moving over towards it, and Rush may do this in a few moments too, but up until this point, was left a little bit open. They are expecting this to be a bit of an option, though, since Tarek pushed up freely onto the Broken Wall platform. Didn't see anything pushing out there. Flash is starting to move back in, so in a second, we should expect more pressure. FNS catching the first kill for free against Mixwell, though. Room for trades as Jason R finding one. Now the second, Jason R tries to find himself, but it's actually Naf that does a whole lot of the damage out on the site here. Now bringing this back down to a 3v2. The B players arriving over to the A bomb site, and now still holding great positioning, able to take out Ethan as well. Just Kusta left alive in a 1v3, and he only has 30 seconds left to somehow try and make this work. And what's even worse, bombed on the ground. It is in a pretty easy position to retrieve her from. In fact, I don't know if any of the CTs are kind of spotted up to counter that directly back out. So he's falling away. He'll be able to retrieve that as it's safely tucked away just outside of the alleyway. Hoping to find a kill, but nothing really being found. And now he's down to 10 seconds left. So No room to bargain for this one. CLG definitely going to be losing this round, and it's going to be OpTic that hold on to the lead.
Goose is making me dizzy there, man. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But yeah, no other map control goes out from CLG. They don't throw any nades at B. They don't throw any nades at drop, so they know, you know, without any type of presence shown anywhere else in the map, that means they don't really rotate, and he gets into sight and saves that round.
To a big degree, he ends up with, I believe, a 3K at the end of it. And now let's put CLG behind once again. Still having enough cash flow, though. They buy back in for yet another time here and split their players up once more, too. This time the heavy push is coming out towards B plat early on, though, instead of working its way out through A long that we saw in the last round there. Kusta already up towards Broken, but gets smoked off, so he has to cancel that. And Ethan instead is just going to tuck himself into the corner as everybody else is waiting in a default pattern. And Mixwell, got to be careful with that. With the smoke starting to fade away out in the open, there is a lot of T's sitting, hugging this right corner, trying to find a way to push back in and just open up more and more options for CLG to utilize here. Kusta getting hit back over there, down to 17 HP as well, so he's going to be pretty well injured for the rest of this round. Mixwell, when he's finally challenged, loses the battle to Cutler, and Cutler basically takes no damage on his own regard. So now Jason R taking up that position. He loses out in the 1v1 as well. Cutler once again comes out on top. He's probably not going to expect a third player, though. No, just walks in. That's a free one for Naf. As finally they pick up the trade, but now the B side has been left a little bit weaker, and it is going to be easier for their other three on CLG to push their way back out towards the platform and take control here. Quick rotation from Naf, though. He's not going to stick around. All three are actually going to be in this B bomb site. Able to hold out. Great molly, though. Sends Tarek into the open. Free shot for Kusta. Rush lining up for one, and only once that one. Doesn't stick around to try and follow through with it. Naf, though, into the open. Wants a kill, but unfortunately, all he finds is the up shot to his face. Shuts out Naf, leaving just Rush alive here. Forced to make a move once again because of the Molotov, but Ethan finding that kill solidifies the round and ties this once again at 4 rounds to all.
And OpTic again on an eco, so win one, lose one. Full save from them. Mixwell taking these aggro angles with the M4, though. Getting first contact, not really working out for him. You know, Naf not really able to save the round there because CLG doesn't full commit. Just Cutler going out. Naf able to get that kill, but CLG just going quick towards B. Kusta kind of posting up. Again, no ump from them, though, even though it is, you know, pretty much a full eco from OpTic. Just another benefit of having that dedicated umper. You never get caught in scenarios like this with.
That's true. That's true.
I had that in there.
But now CLG, not really wanting to waste a lot of time on this map so far, as it's been seen. They've been pretty direct with a lot of their plays. And not necessarily wanting to run out of timer. There we go, Kusta lining up another headshot angle. Small ends up with a body shot. It looked like it was definitely on the head, but regardless, move into the site, quick control. Let's drop end site, fully theirs. And the remaining three, not much that they can do. Mixwell in a spot where maybe he can punish players pushing out of the window, but he's even falling back from that spot now too. As both Jason R and Naf just trying to flank their way back in through the castle and see if they can knock out at least one more player from CLG. They get the ding by the Cutler. And Mixwell is able to push forward, finalizing that kill. Ethan moving up from behind inside of these halls. That runs out of ammo, but FNS comes in to bail out his teammate. And with that done, Mixwell has already retrieved the AK from Cutler and wants nothing to do with this battle in the B halls. He's falling back and is looking to save that gun for the next round. But it's going to be CLG for the first time so far in this map, taking the lead away from OpTic. They go 5-4. And they win out the round with 5 alive as well, which should help to build up their economy a little bit since Cutler can buy back on his own regard. OpTic at a bit of a odd crossroad here. They could try to buy into this one. Mixwell should have enough to try and drop a gun over for a teammate. However, now already buying into a P250, it is looking like they are just going to light buy into this one. Rush buying down a little bit more to that shotgun. I think he has a slightly higher amount of cash compared to the other 3 teammates. But like I said before, CLG not really one to waste time and trying to set themselves up. We've already got another 3-2 split, quickly becoming a 4-1 split in a moment here.
Very different from how they played Mirage, right? Not afraid to go early, group up as 5, take things right away.
And it's Kusta at the broken wall once again that is looking for this first kill. Won't be challenged this time, though, since Rush sits with the shotgun just at the other end, that he definitely holds a slight advantage so long as he doesn't get flashed or just pushed back by another nade here. Really just waiting for CLG to set themselves up, and then he'll see what he can pick up from this position. We're doing it without armor or anything like that, though, and he is very much so in the open. So it's very easy for him to just get one kill and then get traded back out by another member of CLG, and that's when you have to hope Mixwell comes in with the support a little bit further back, as he's boosted up on the tree position with the AK in hand, and he's even got armor up behind his buy as well. Smoke starting to move back in, though, from the CLG side, so they're going to go for this execute. Flashbang's hitting Rush early on, but they also affect CLG, so neither player ending up in a good position. Flashbangs do end up working out, though, for CLG. When they redeploy them just seconds later, they not only take down Mixwell in that boost spot, but Rush falls too, and that's pretty much it. Those were the two important players to take down, and after this, you're just cleaning up pistol guys at long range.
Yeah, those were the guns that OpTic had on that B site, and CLG annihilates them very quickly, so able to win the round very fast.
And Naf with nothing left here. Just ends up hightailing it outside, wrapping around, and again, probably going to do what they did a few rounds back. Just hoping to hold and a bit of a long wrap and find players exiting, but he's not going to catch anyone here, so all he'll end up with is just a saved P250. Not necessarily the most valiant gun to end up running out of the round with here, but at the very least, it doesn't go down, doesn't feed them another bit of extra cash there. CLG with this, not only starting to build their lead, but building their money in a very, very fast pattern, too. Only 3 rounds have been won straight so far, but every single player is at a point where they can afford a full rebuy should they all be wiped off the board in this next gun round here. But not only that, some looking at a situation where they can afford, you know, just 2 full rebuys as well, or at the very least force into the round after that. So they're looking great with players building up around 6 to 7K at average. And once again, straightforward into the B halls. No need to change up the game plan. That seems to be working for them so far. But now they're going to be going up against a much stronger buy from OpTic. Not only do they have guns in hand again, they've got utility this time. You know, 2 Molotovs, excluding what they have already used. Smokes in one as well. They use a lot of this early on, but so does CLG. So they just want to go right into the site. And what's great, too, is in the confusion of all these mollies and smokes going out, look at how much control they get. CLG pushing forward. They did check up on the boost, but oh, they just spot Tarek's feet. Now trading for 1. Ethan thankfully has the back sidewalk position, though, so he's able to trade that right back, giving them the 4v3 advantage here. Ethan going to be challenged again, but once more, the smokes work out great for CLG. Spots the feet early, gets first contact on the duel. Rush will win out here and trade on the Ethan. Ricky, oh, okay, Rush finding yet another kill, and he's going to be able to hear Cutler moving back down inside of the drop, but can actually win that one out there. Now it's just on Mixwell for the 1v2. Still outside of the site as well, so he needs to move pretty quickly and get himself inside, but unfortunately for him, in the time that he unscoped looking at the statue over there, when he went through the door, Kusta had gone for a wide swing. With that, he is able to finish off the round, giving CLG yet another pickup here. 7-4 now. I think OpTic are going to have to go for another half or full save.
That was an awesome shot by them. That was actually the first time I saw smokes deployed like that. Have you seen that shot before?
I don't believe so, no.
That was really cool. Just able to wrap around the site like that. Good stuff.
Yeah, the smokes themselves worked out perfectly for them in every single duel almost. Got a little bit messy at the end there, but for the most part, they actually getting onto the site played perfectly. Okay, didn't spot on the first jump up there, but he does actually catch Tarek the second time around. FNS also finding Jason R, so like I said before, another bit of a half buy from OpTic. Not expecting a whole lot to get done. CLG is finding their consistency, and they're executing upon it beautifully right now. Not losing any, you know, a whole lot of players either. A little bit of trouble with this Deagle maybe to come. Rush actually finding one with a 5-7 too. Taking down Ricky. So that's over towards drop. But other than that, still 4v3 control for OpTic, or excuse me, CLG. And no one else from OpTic has been able to retrieve the gun off of Ricky. So no huge dangerous buys coming in. CLG just taking it nice and slow, so they don't run into this Deagle here, which could actually knock them out pretty quickly if they're not careful. Not only this too, but definitely a little bit of impatience on this this eco round from OpTic, and they were jumping back up and trying to peek into that pretty quickly. So a lot for CLG to get a few kills while they were still passively stacked back up on the actual platform approach. And now just Rush trying to sneak his way in, but FNS already positioned for this. He's going to shut down the round, disallowing for anyone else on the CLG side to be knocked out there. So like I said, money going up. These anti-ecos are going beautifully. Even the gun rounds, really, really well played out. And now pretty much everyone's sitting around 10K. Got a few players floating a little bit below that, but definitely sitting in great spots to just close out this half, as they should be pretty much invulnerable even if they lose the last 3 rounds here.
Double op setup comes out from OpTic Gaming. We have just a 3-2 split right now. 3 guys holding, you know, outside of A. It looks like they're sending a 4th one over, so they throw a little bit of stuff towards B, I'm assuming. Not much, though. They still have all their nades. And map control has been an issue, though, for OpTic. They haven't denied any of it. They're looking to deny some now. Tarek's taking B plat control, so at least he'll have that info. But I mean, they've pretty much done whatever they wanted every round.
Yeah, and this is a perfect time to change themselves up too, because now you only have Mixwell defending over here towards long, where in the past you had like 2, sometimes I think one round even had 3 players sitting at A long. One had to like rotate in a little bit late, but still. At the same time, OpTic did spot this play earlier on because they got so aggressive on platform, and CLG sent no one in to convince them otherwise. So they were going to be out. They're going to have a lot of players in this site. Flashbangs were good early on. Naf able to peek in, though, after Ricky gets that initial kill, but then FNS finding another one for himself. Now Mixwell trapped inside of the alleyway, hoping to find some impact from within side of here, but there's really nowhere that he can run to. You can see the shots. He's looking for the tracers as well, but just can't catch onto them. FNS catching that kill. Jason R comes in from the backside and picks up another one. Bomb's still not on the ground just yet, but that's changing right now as the timer does start to tick back in. Tarek looking for a way to sneak back in, tries to snapshot on the Kusta, but can't actually find him. It's going to be Jason R that works out from mid instead, that finds that kill and re-equalizes us back down to a 2v2. That was the easy kill to get. These last 2 are going to be much, much more difficult, though, as they know where everyone else is hiding at on OpTic. Just down to Jason R after Tarek is eliminated by Ethan, and Jason R already down at 12 HP. He's going to make a go at this regardless. The APC player distracting Jason R quite a bit, as I believe that is FNS jumping, or excuse me, Ethan actually jumping all around, tries to pick up the op and run away, but it's not going to pay off. Ethan gets aggressive, pushes out, and finds the last finalizing kill to put CLG 1 round away from double digits here.
Again, just another like full execute from CLG. They get all their A smokes deployed, and that flashbang towards heaven was so well timed in order for Ricky to get that entry kill. Just perfectly timed.
Yeah, there's very little resistance on it at all from OpTic overall. Relatively clean entries. Obviously, like we've seen in some of the rounds in the past, it's a little bit dodgy after they actually get onto the site, and OpTic goes for the bit of the retake, but the actual entry power itself from CLG is definitely showing through. It's appearing quite strong at this point. We've seen this on Mirage, and maybe a lot of them would actually take that first map if we had it back then, but it's showing up now here on Cobblestone Rush. Second dink as well. Gets the first one on the Cutler and then follows through with another one to Ricky, while at the same time having to dance around these mollies and not end up inside of them. So great damage early on. A bit unfortunate that he's not actually able to find a kill with it, but this is hopefully what Mixwell is going to be able to do. Push back in, if not at least dink a few more players, maybe finish at least one of them off, finds them, but unfortunately FNS catches him first. Knocks him out with a headshot there, and now the rest are going to be following through to push up onto the site. Molly's moving out from the tees. They're ready to deploy as soon as themselves in a good enough position here. And Tarek for the back. We've seen him do work with the scout before, but this may be asking for a little bit too much. There's one of the players that was dinked earlier, and the second one. Haven't been able to take out anyone besides that, though, but Tarek's going to change that. 3 kills for him now. It's just down to Kusta and Ethan trying to pull off this 2v2, but they also are trying to flank over by the sidewalk here, but they do have smokes covering them off and give them a little bit more room to work with. Very easy read for OpTic to adjust upon, though. They just change up their positions. They know one player's hiding close up. That's where Naf's going to hit the shot. A missed shot from Kusta, but Kusta switches over to the Tech 9, finds one more to go, and it's against Naf, but he's getting low himself. Only 3 bullets remaining, 2, 1, and he cannot do it. Naf closes out and finally gives OpTic another round.
Got those 2 dinks by Rush, even though he didn't get the kills. Allows Tarek to get the first 2. Just around statue, this 3rd kill was very nice as well. And they basically, they have a pretty good stack on the site. They, get them low early, and then now they win that round and are able to upgrade to a double upset of this round. And if they get 6, I mean, it's more than enough. Even 5's enough. I mean, T-side Cobble could be very T-sided at times.
Yeah, so OpTic just throwing 4 players at B right from the start. That's been CLG's go-to for the most part, and it's going to be once again at the beginning of this round. Ethan already trying to push his way out. It's a bit of a struggle. Nade's hitting him, and the op shot from Naf as well to close it out. Other players trying to push in for like drop control too, but actually for the first time in a while, this is where we aren't seeing the entry power on CLG come through in a very clean manner. They're pretty much getting destroyed actually on the opener here, and Kusta, for whatever reason, wasn't able to spot Mixwell there. I'm not sure if it was like a GoTV smoke bug or something, but just didn't see him, even though it looked like he was out in the open. Now Cutler trying to push his way forward with FNS. Nice shot from FNS, picking up Jason R. But there's still a lot more work to do just to get control of the A bomb set. This isn't including the players that are trying to rotate back in and holding door positions right now, which CLG's Cutler is now going to have no choice but to push back in and try and counter back out. After he's lost FNS, he makes a move, but it doesn't pan out. And Tarek closes out that final round there, giving OpTic 6 at the end of the half. It's going to be very close, ladies and gentlemen. And OpTic's potential to try and shut this one down in 2-0 manner is still very much alive. Stick around. We'll be back with the second half between these two teams on their second map in just a few minutes here at the ESL Pro League.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, PaySafeCard, Legion Lenovo, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
Ben, what are you doing? Alright, welcome back once again, folks, here to the ESL Pro League. It is currently CLG ahead once again on the second map, but that didn't really seem to mean too much back on Mirage. We still saw OpTic come through, take it to OT, and then actually come out on top, 4-0ing it in overtime, and now we're close once more, 9-6 in the favor of CLG. And they looked rather dominant, and unfortunately, OpTic not only claimed the pistol round of the first few rounds after that, but then they were able to come through with a few more towards the end and make it relatively close here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if CLG wins that pistol, be looking at a super dominant half because they did look really good. Their executes were very crisp. They really had their stuff down. Like, they knew where the smokes were going to land, how they were going to react to them, how they were going to push into sites, well-timed flashes and whatnot. So very well played from CLG. Did you hear my my pistol round strat?
No.
On CT side?
No, it isn't.
Okay. Nobody buys anything. Okay, maybe you have like one guy with a kit and a smoke. All right. Call it the Bogdan. Second round, you get 2,200, so you guaranteed ump armor. Anybody else that gets kills can buy a smoke to stop any type of rush. So, you know, great buy that second round.
That's actually, yeah.
It's nuts, right?
That's pretty nuts,
You
actually.
still have a good chance to win that pistol round, even if you don't have armor. I mean, you have one guy on like a kit smoke. You can overplay a site maybe, make it like a 50-50.
Especially on a map like this.
Yeah. Bogdan. This guy was right about everything. You understand?
He was a misunderstood genius.
He's just a misunderstood genius. He was.
Well, OpTic already losing 2 of their players. Oh, they're going to try to battle it back a little bit. Naf holding on in the arena here now. He's got 2 kills, looking for a third, being supported by his teammates. Now as Rush pushes back in, Naf gets himself the third, and they somehow spin this back around. CLG down to 1 player, but Naf is going to secure his 4th and final kill on this pistol as OpTic go immediately up to 7 and have their chance to get back into this match with the lead. Beautiful stuff from Naf. Barely holding on, but thankfully he has his teammates supporting him right from behind. Rush there allows him to hold such great control, even though they were boxed out to a 3v5 right from the start. You can see this huge pile of corpses just sitting on the ground, most of which being the victims of Naf there. So great stuff, and it allows for OpTic to take control once again at the beginning of the half. Assuming we don't see them get ecoed, of course, by CLG right here as they do force up into 5-7s, CZs, you know, the usual.
Look a lot better if they had umps, huh?
Guess it would.
Bogdan, he's like a Counter-Strike's version of like a Plato or a Aristotle. Just a great philosopher.
That got deep. So, looking at things now, Cutler probably going to be first up to be challenged. Wow, all right. Cutler just swinging out, though, takes the battle after they attempt to flash him out. And immediately, advantage goes by the way of CLG. Won't mean much for now, though. We'll have to wait and see how OpTic try to follow this back up. And it is looking like they're going to respond by going towards the other site over here towards B, but this is where they have the huge stack. 3 in the site. The 4th is going to be outside the window, just making sure they don't try to funnel back in and do like an A-drop split. That was they do start to push back in. A lot of attention towards drop, which is going to leave a few players out of position, but still able to line back up, maybe able to pick up a few headshots over here. Rush catching one, Kusta waiting. That could be dangerous, though. You don't know who's going to go checking for this one at all. He gets a good amount of damage in, but isn't able to actually pick up any headshots here. It's Ricky that moves in to find one more from within this site, but the problem is they've gotten so much control now, and without them being able to scavenge any of the guns off of OpTic's own members, this is going to be rough to try and do much about this clutch itself. Cutler does 7 HP. Now finishes him off with the USP through the smoke, and for Ricky, he might as well just save this 5-7 armor for the next round now, so he'll hope someone gets a little bit over-aggressive and maybe being able to punish that, and then if not, he can safely just fall back, wrap himself over towards A-Long or somewhere else around there, and then save this one for the third round, where he's going to have the only real investment going into it. So OpTic following through with that pistol round advantage. They push up onto 8, and this should secure a pretty good advantage for them. And just look at how lopsided, I just noticed this as well, OpTic, just their kills are right now. We'll take a look at it in a second after we get through this replay, but I think it's NAF up at like 21, and then the next group of players is down somewhere around like the low 10s currently. Yeah, it's 21 and 8 for NAF, and the next highest player is Rush at 11 and 11. So NAF definitely bringing a lot of the firepower for OpTic. Even that may be a bit of an understatement. And he's going to lead the charge once again as he moves his way in, just continuing to add to the counter. Obviously going to be a little bit easier this time. And it's Ricky that goes down first off. Tarek trying to pick up a few kills himself, grabbing one, but then going down afterwards. As the rest of the team, however, is pushing their way pretty quickly into the A-bomb site. They dink NAF down relatively low to 10 HP, but it's a bit irrelevant at this point, since Ethan and Kusta aren't really going to be doing much to combat and take down the remaining members of OpTic. They are just going to be falling back through the B halls, trying to save that UMP. And Kusta probably going to try to support his teammate and attempt to get a gun of his own if at all possible. OpTic, though, do complete that comeback, and now are going to be at 9-9, but they need to win at least this next gun round to be able to secure it. And Kusta trying to be sneaky here, hiding behind this little plant. Good attempt. And actually, Ethan is going to be able to move back out to finish the job. NAF, though, nice shots from down below, taking out Ethan and securing the round itself, even at low HP, able to pick up those final kills and give OpTic that 9th round with another 3K for him here. In the gun round itself, CLG going to be working with a somewhat decent amount of utility. Going to have pretty much just 4 smokes across the board. Cutler going to be a little bit lower off, and NAF going in towards drop room early on here, just going right at it too. Has support from a teammate, but just mows down his own teammate. And now going to get pushed on. Ricky and Kusta both picking up kills. Kusta just follows it through with another one as well. It's down to Tarek. He's got a 1v4. He did spot this player behind him, but got a little bit too confused there. Now Cutler moves in a very odd turn of events. CLG very quickly take control of the first gun round and now get to maintain the lead.
Yeah, really good round from CLG. Great job in drop, just immediately running towards the box, playing that very nicely. Just that statue, getting those 2 big kills, they're able to maintain that off. One of the problems I have with like CLG kind of though, this is what I think their main problem is as a team, right? The way they have to win rounds, they really have to win it by, as this is going to be a slowdown round by OpTic, this is just to bait out their nades. The way they have to win rounds, right, is like very, very slow. Every time they like speed it up into a change of tempo play, you know, like similar to how FaZe plays, right? FaZe just like rushes a lot of the time. They just don't have the individual skill to really pull that off. So most of the ways they win like T-side rounds are just by being very slow, very methodical, you know, slow map control, right? And there's 2 problems with that. One problem is if the other team saves a lot of their utility, it's going to be, you know, super difficult to win that round, right? If they catch on to that. The other problem is that if you get picked off and it ends up in a 4v5, usually the way you win 4v5s is like one player can even it up, take an individual battle, win that round, you know, win that kill, then the kills follow, right? And you don't really go off like an execute or anything. But they just don't have the players to really thrive in that environment, in my opinion. So it makes them a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, now Tarek pushing through, but they haven't seen FNS just yet. That's going to change now, though, as he unleashes himself, but he's only able to find the one kill. Can't follow through and be able to pick up Nap. Ricky caught in a pretty bad spot, but still actually makes a decent effort at it. Moving in, and now Ethan leaping down from up on top of heaven is able to find Mixwell, dropping the bomb, more importantly. Problem is he gets pushed from multiple angles. Didn't really have great intel on where the last two are positioned. Kusta now knows, misses that second shot, but can still win this one back out. Tarek going to try to get close up. Thought he was going to jump up on top of the APC, but was wrong about that. And with that miscalculation, Tarek is able to pick up the last kill and bring OpTic right back into the fray, tying us up again and putting CLG into a very awkward spot in terms of their money.
Yeah, I think CLG should definitely buy here, though. If you win this round, you could definitely have a pretty easy chance of winning the game. They are going to save, so opting for those fully bought rounds. That's another reason, or another thing, right? Usually when you have those like really good individual players, they could just thrive with like umps and things like that and just make plays happen.
And early on, again, we can see OpTic just spreading back out. CLG have gotten rather aggressive on some of these eco rounds, and that's going to hold true for this upcoming one. As they have multiple players positioned from within side of the mid connector and A long within those first few seconds, but they do pull them back just a few moments later, have them swinging back around and end up with a 4-1 stack, just with Cutler watching for control over suicide steps in both mid connector and A long. The rest of the team focusing up on B. Gonna have Akusa's bit of a floater between the two sites. And if he does see any signs of an execute, more than likely will fully commit at just a moment's notice. But actually, no, it's moving over early on, so stacking away from the 4-1 split. It's a good thing that OpTic chose to run to the timer and play just a much slower round overall here is now. And going forward with this direct B play, it's going to be a relatively open site. And even with what contention they'll go up against, it's just going to be USPs and P250s and the 157 sitting on Cutler. They're going to still keep it quiet up until the moment they do execute. Ends up in the 4-1, however. And the 1 is going to be opening up for an early flank. So still odds, or at the very least, CLG to try and pick up a few kills here if they can line up those headshots quite nicely. But at the moment, it is a bit of a shooting gallery for OpTic. Already 4 kills their way. The flank picks up at least 1, and it's the Opper. But won't get further than that, and the Op will be very quickly retrieved by another member of OpTic. And we give it back to Mixwell in just a second. Just a straightforward round, basically as you'd expect the buy from CLG to play out there with not a whole lot of success. The one flank obviously surprising to pick up that kill, but that's going to be it. The full save from CLG, though, nets pretty good results, as now they're going to be able to get themselves a double op setup in addition to 2 more M4s. FNS still has to go down to a UMP, but at the very least it gives them a little bit more utility, as they were kind of lacking in that department because of the choice to go for the 2 ops. Just having the basic smokes and a couple mollies to play with, and then flashbangs after that. But Kusta trying to challenge early on over here towards mid-connector. Has himself an angle against at least 1 or 2 of the players, but just can't catch them in the open. Now it's going to leave OpTic, once again, very passively outside. Just running down the timer, as we've seen in some of these past rounds. Tarek lurking back out, though, and Ricky looking way too high. Tarek is able to capitalize and pick up that first kill. Going to be looking for more in a second here, but he hesitates a tad. Backs up with a CT smoke. Tossed back in, just tries to spray into it. In the event, one of the players from CLG tried to go back up behind the box, but it's not the case. All of CLG still trying to play this from within side of the site, and just a 2-2 split as well. Now they move back in. FNS missing the first opportunity for a shot on the repeat rush. Not only takes down FNS, but he finds Ethan too. Sights wide open now, and for Kusta and Cutler, there's nothing they can do. They have 0 utility. 1 op as well, so it's going to be much more appetizing to back away from this battle and save for the next round, just letting OpTic get the 2-round lead going here. Overall, OpTic still choosing to actually move back out since their money's building up relatively quickly too. They will try to hunt down these last 2 rifles. Kusta and Cutler both just trying to play together though and support each other, but Kusta, timing doesn't play out too well for him. He's caught looking at another angle, and Mixwell goes for the peek. So Mixwell able to sink his own shot. The op now down, and Cutler focused much more on self-preservation than anything else. Challenged by Tarek. That's really going to be the only player from the T side that can get within range to actually knock him out of the round though, so he still survives and even trades over to a better gun, the AK. So he'll make it out, but other than that, it doesn't really pan out the way that they would have expected with trying to save that up. So they only carry through with the 1 rifle, and everyone else is going to be pretty much broken here. Back down to a little over the 2K mark as CLG also call for a tactical pause.
Yeah, just individual plays. You know, CLG trying to get aggressive with Ricky on that plat. Gets just stomped by Tarek. Just swinging out from the little cubby on the right. And then we have Rush going down drop. I mean, FNS had an op on him. We're not able to get that kill. Goes and he peeks Ethan with the ump. Ethan not able to get that kill. Both kills CLG should have been able to have. I'd argue even Ricky probably should have killed Tarek. They just don't clear out that right side corner with a molly or anything like that.
It is a quick pause, so we're right back into it. But as I said before, CLG not really able to invest into this one, so they're only going to have Cutler with a rifle. Everyone else is on default pistols, and we have FNS with a P250. Ricky is all with a Zeus, but I doubt that that's going to come into... I doubt that that's going to be super effective unless there's a big spray. There's a big push towards drop, which we haven't really seen a whole lot of from OpTic. It's just been 1 or 2 players going on their own regard here, so we'll see in a second if this comes into play. But it should just be
what a nade.
By the record here. It should be a very straightforward round, and it's starting off that way. The nade banking itself off the wall brings Kusta down to 8 HP. They did try to push aggressively out from A long, but they canceled that back out now, as there's still a lot of players from OpTic hanging back. Rush takes him a second, but he does finally hit the headshot onto Ethan, eliminating him. And now Tarek looking for more of a... He's getting tagged down pretty low, actually, through this smoke. 8 HP, and just decides to kind of hide himself away. Kusta got brought relatively low, too. Mixwell not even going to take the shot against that jumping player there. They've already pretty much pushed them entirely out of the site, and we know that there's not going to be really much of a chance for CLG to pick up the round at all here. Ricky just waiting it out. It's so unfortunate that Ricky went down from on top of that little pallet there. He was actually in a great spot to hit the Zeus kill, but now he's missed his chance and probably won't get it again. And it's basically just waiting down the bomb timer at this point and seeing if CLG can get anyone on exits. Flash against Ricky. This is really the big question now to see if Ricky can just get the Zeus kill. He's getting pushed from like 2 different angles, so not looking too great. Flashbang misses though, close up, but he just gets shot from behind, so that build up for nothing, unfortunately. That's not going to come through. And we do see, obviously, Mixwell getting knocked back out, but with the money that they have, that's not too big of a deal. He can easily just rebuy into this next one, as they're getting ahead very nicely. 3-round lead, just 3 more away from taking the map and pulling off the 2-0 here. As for CLG, well, they're buying back into this round, of course, and they'll have full utility once again, but they absolutely have to try and crush OpTic here, as after this one, it may be too late to break the streak and stop them from pushing on to 16.
27 and 10 for that right now.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning of the half, it was an even bigger lead compared to him and his teammates. Some of his other teammates have sort of come back into the fray a little bit. Mixwell got this great jump though. I don't even think that the CT spotted him. So gets great damage on Akusta. He's at 3 HP after that. Molly actually does go behind it, but he peeks too far to the left, and that's where Mixwell is going to finalize things. They don't even spot him on top of that box, so Mixwell just getting away with murder for free. Moves in, eliminates Kusta. In the meanwhile, we've got more players from OpTic trying to push back up the ramp too, but they call this back off actually, and they're going to end up falling back inside of the B halls since Mixwell just picked up a free kill on B. Now Ethan moving in and looking for revenge, but he may find himself in a pretty bad position in a few moments here. Thankfully, OpTic sort of misread it and tried to go heavy on drop, and that's where Ricky was lined up, ready to take that battle, and traded out the kill into Mixwell. And it's not just here either. Ethan, Cutler, and Ricky all trying to fight out. Cutler and Ricky, the only ones that come out on top successfully, but still, they end up with an advantage now in a 2v3. The 2 remaining players from OpTic trying to boost up on top and play this a little bit more aggressively against CLG, as they may move in and just try to stop the plant in its entirety. But they're holding back inside of drop a little bit more. Flashbang's moving in, not going to affect Tarek though. Lines up, gets the first kill, dives down back below the boost up box. Tarek brought somewhat low, but still able to get into this fight as he picks up a second kill, and now Ricky alone in a 1v2. They double peek him, and now finalizes that last kill, putting OpTic up to 14. And basically forcing CLG into this next buy if they want to have any chance of winning this out in regulation.
I'm not even certain what happened there, because OpTic made a 4v5 from Mixwell. Nobody on CLG rotated. They go back to B, but then by the time it's a 2v3, all the players are like stuck in connector for CLG. I wish I could see that round again, because that was just strange rotations, right? Like nobody moved from CLG, then all of a sudden it's like a 2v3. But then they're all just stuck in connector and nobody's even at or anything.
I know they were fighting on ramp. Or they were like sort of fighting on ramp when Mixwell got that kill. So that may be why they stayed in the site for a little bit longer at A. Regardless, The decision not to rotate ends up messing them up.
I mean, that's the second time OpTic just did such a weird play right there because on Mirage, they made it 4v5, and then they did a double fake, where one went out A, then one went out B, and then 3 went out A, and, you know, they ended up losing that round.
That still works out for OpTic at the end of the day, though. And now they're going to go for a much more straightforward execute. At least early on to B. Not sure if they're going to, again, not sure if they're actually going to follow through and actually just make this the B play. Does he still have the 2 guys out in mid by the courtyard and whatnot? Right now just kind of mollying out and posturing up. Could actually end up in a drop split situation. We'll see in a second here. Tarek just on his lonesome over upward steps. It is looking like the other players are following through to try and get the B take. Nicely done from Tarek, though. Just deletes Ethan, but he's got to check his right side, and he doesn't. So FNS gets the free trade on the Tarek there. Now Rush dropping back in, going to try to change the status quo. Big rotates over to the other site. It's a good read. Rush leaping out, tries to damage midair, but that's not going to work out too well. Ricky's able to easily dispatch of Rush, and it now leaves things down to a 2 versus 4 situation. Both of OpTic's players pushing up ramp. It could just be a quick shutdown here in the favor of CLG, but Nap is trying his best to avoid that one. Unfortunately, he's already lost Kusta, and Kusta jumping up as well. Gets that last kill with some assistance from Cutler onto Naf. CLG not dead yet, as they do find themselves in 11th.
Yeah, and the reason Tarek wasn't worried about anybody close to him is because his teammate saw 2 and drop. So when his teammate saw 2 and drop, he figured those were the 3 players towards the B side of the map, but then that extra player just sitting underneath, which is FNS, he usually plays A with Cutler. But now it's kind of switching off a bit, and Kusta's been going A. So he wasn't expecting that at all. Now we have Mixwell, you know, kind of slowing it down a little bit, posted on the B plat. And even though OpTic got the first kill that round, that's the first time they've been, you know, they've lost one of the rounds. They've got the first kill on. They seem to just get the first kill, take a direct gun battle against CLG, and they can kind of leverage that into a round win. But this time CLG able to stop them.
Yeah, now OpTic again split up early on here, still playing it into the default at the beginning of the round, and much less inclined to just go straight back out and set themselves up for success this time. They are going to start off their aggression in this round with a little bit of play towards drop. That HE grenade, though, had a very interesting bounce that actually messed it up a little bit, but still Rush pushes through. Ricky with a great push on his own regard, though, to trade that back, but unfortunately, he does end up with 2 HP at the end of it, and Rush pursues him, able to pick up the kill. That's opened up the floodgates here now, and the last 2 on the site have to be able to defend this. Kusta is not going to be able to come in solo and win this back out, so Ethan, along with FNS, have to do something to be able to stop this 2v4 situation that's now on the site. Immediately losing FNS, Ethan trading it back out, down at 61 HP. Great flick to be able to still pick up the kill, and Jason R running out of ammo. Naf is going to be able to take him down. That might have been enough, though, as now Kusta's going to move it, but he's got to check this left side as he does push towards it. They are going to be having players close up to them. Immediately after he tries to swing into the site, Naf already getting damage inside. He's going to close that against Kusta, and OpTic are going to push up to 15.
And again, though, it's the initial entry at drop. And then the second kill, you know, just gets traded out. It's just that initial entry goes OpTic's way every single time.
But now it's put CLG after winning 1 round and then losing directly after. It's a reset them back into a pretty dire situation here with 2 CZs, 1 M4 with no utility sitting on Ricky, a shotgun for Kusta, and then a UMP for Cutler as the buys are just all over the place. They're trying their best to stay in this match, stay in the qualification ring for Dallas as well, but things are not looking good for CLG, as their only hope now would be to win out 2-0 against SK if we assume that OpTic just do close out on this map. And even then, they'd have to win out in tiebreakers against a few other teams towards the bottom of the barrel. Well, Rush, once again, trying to find that early entry. Molotov is actually pretty well placed, though, so it is going to restrict both the OpTic players for a few extra seconds.
Yeah, I don't know if you could play the round, though, to delay. You know, you don't have the utility to do that. Like, it's not doing much. I guess they do set up and drop the nicely with 3 players. But again, gets traded out. Okay, so 3v3, that's fine. That's fine. With the economic state that you're at, the weapons you're working at, that's fine. Now I understand why they threw that Molotov, because they were going to, you know, collapse on it and really fight it.
But OpTic quickly switching up their own dynamic now. Just sending the bomb back out through the halls. Jason R, just got to be careful with the timing on this. There's a player right at the edge here that gets to the bottom. He just sees his right side, though, and saves his own life. At 1 HP, he'll get that kill against Kusta. And FNS and Ricky having no choice but to try and force their way over here and go for the rotate. But Ricky not even fully convinced just yet. He was still sitting on the statue until a second ago, and now he's lost FNS. And this could be the very end of it here. Ricky alone in a 1v3. 0 utility to push into the site. It's looking very much like an OpTic game here. As Ricky's even smoked out from heaven, has no choice but to go back out through either the door or just the rat hole shed. As he pushes his way out, there's actually no one directly paying attention to him, so he's going to allow himself to get back over here behind ABC, but he was just spotted by a player in alleyway. Jason R's the easy one. He was already down at 1 HP. It's the next two that are going to be tough for him to try and play out against. Not only this, 7 bullets left in the clip. Jumping back up, trying to check the default spot. Doesn't even find him there. You know, he's sort of turned the situation around a little bit. No kit either, mind you. He's got to speed this up and actually try to get these kills, but just throws out the guns at the end. Knows he's not winning it. And off of that, ladies and gentlemen, OpTic are going to come out on top. They claim map number 2 with a final score of 16-11. And with that, OpTic will take this matchup 2-0, pushing them within just a few more wins of guaranteeing themselves a spot at Dallas.
Yeah, and I mean, the OpTic, you know, decent CT half for them. CLG, I thought, played well on their T half. A lot of good executes from them. But at the end of the day, the individual skill from OpTic kind of overpowering, I think, CLG. The initial entry, it's never off an execute or anything like that. It's always off just a player going out B-plat, a player working drop zone. And with that initial entry, especially on the T side of Cbble, it makes things really easy for them. And they're always able to end up in a 3v3 or even win the rounds clean. But that initial entry was the big key there.
All right, so with that said, let's send it back over to the analysis desk to break down the second map and just give us our final thoughts here on this matchup.
Give us our final thoughts. Well, that we shall. Vendetta, initial impressions.
Initial impression was, I think Sam kind of hit it on the head really immediately. He talked about, you know, initially what the biggest problem with CLG's T side was the fact that they only really win rounds when they slow it down. Like significantly, they can't win rounds off of individual skill, and you kind of see that coming into into fruition on the CT side as well when they switch halves, because they're not able to win a single opening duel. Like out of all the rounds that were played on that second half, they only found the entry frag twice, and one of those times that entry frag was NAF and killing Mixwell. So in essence, they actually only found one entry frag, and the other one was OpTic finding an entry frag on themselves. And you're not going to get, obviously, like a lot of good opportunities or be in a lot of opportune moments on the CT side of Cbble if that's how your opening duels to go. So for the better part, that was really just what went wrong for them. OpTic just went with something that, again, similar to Immortals, very simple style of play, nothing too advanced, but they're able to find the openings that they can work with. So, as long as they're not getting punished for keeping it simple, there's no reason for them to change it up. And CLG just weren't able to do anything about it.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, keeping it simple, there's usually nothing wrong with that. If it works,
if it works, it works.
But in this case, we did see a much stronger T side here from CounterLogic Gaming over on Cbble rather than on Mirage, and it's because of that slow pace.
Yeah, the methodical approach is obviously extremely strong for them, and again, if they've been able to win pistols for once in this game, they might have been able to do even better. They lose both here in this game as well. But again, Dace mentioned it during the game. If they win pistol and have the T side they have, we're looking potentially at a completely different game.
Well, it's funny we say this, right? So CLG takes 2 Ls. OpTic take 2 Ws, and now are 2 Ws away from going to Dallas.
Yeah. And CLG on their end, now we're talking mathematical chances of actually making it through. They're going to have to hope and pray, pretty much.
Kind of down to the nitty-gritty for them. Well, our next matchup in the first map is actually going to be Mirage. But we do have Immortals and Renegades. Just a real quick thought before we go to a break.
Immortals Renegades should make for a fun matchup. Surprised to see Mirage, because I think it's Immortals pick as well, which is not something we see very often. But yeah, it should be a fun matchup. Well,
a fun matchup it should be, and we will be bringing it to you. But you need to head over to youtube.com/ESLCS to grab the latest VODs. You can even watch the last 2 matches there between OpTic and CLG over at youtube.com/ESLCS. Make sure you favorite it, bookmark it.
Subscribe.
I don't think you can subscribe. Yeah, you can. You can subscribe.
You can definitely subscribe.
Technology these days escapes me. It's insane. Really and truly. Yeah, so we're going to be going into Immortals Renegades.
Yeah.
And right away, who's the favorite on Mirage?
I'm actually a bit up in the air. I'm liking Renegades' chances on this simply because, we haven't seen too much of Immortals on Mirage.
Well, there you have it. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, it's Immortals, it's Renegades. We'll be right back.